great Bobby Belt.
You ruined the morning show.
Don't make me take off my belt.
Don't make me take off my belt.
We're not. Over to you, Bobby.
For this Cowboys team, does a first-round pick have to start in year one in order to be a successful pick? For this particular team.
Yes. Not only does the first-round pick have to start, first-round pick has to be an impact player.
Agreed.
I think there is a...
I think that goes for any team.
I think there is a...
No. It goes...
That should be the goal.
That should be the goal. Yeah. But for the importance of Tyler Guyton and what he plays, I think, I agree with your initial statement.
As it stands right now, as we're heading into training camp, which there's a clear void at left tackle. Tyron Smith has gone off. They've decided to keep Tyler Smith at left guard for now. You've got this opening. There's not an obvious player to step in and take it other than the guy you invested a first-round pick in, Tyler Guyton. You have Chuma Edoga on the roster, who is a veteran player. Not somebody I would think you'd want to start out there for 17 games. Just, in a vacuum, stripping away any side context of it, just saying, would you ever want Chuma Edoga to start 17 games for you? You'd probably say no. Obviously, that changes given if you're looking at what your roster composition looks like. You might say, well, I guess that's my best option. But I think that there is an almost certainty that your left tackle that you picked, Tyler Guyton, your interior offensive lineman, guard center, Cooper Beebe that you took in the third round, with these holes on the offensive line, thought you were getting plug-and-play starters. I think there is an almost certainty that they are not with the first team when we get to training camp. I think it's likely they are not starting week one, and I think it's possible they don't start all year.
What?
I think it's possible. So, I'll break it down for you real quick.
Please do.
The right side of the offensive line is the only thing on this team right now that's really stable and locked in. You could argue Tyler Smith at left guard, but they've been back and forth on him so many different times that you don't really feel like anything's set in stone until you know what else is around. The right side of the line is Terrence Steele at right tackle, Zach Martin at right guard. Inside at center, everybody has assumed that Cooper Beebe, that'll be his job. You pick Cooper Beebe, he'll kick inside to center, played guard at Kansas State, but he'll be your center and he'll be good to go. Mike Solari, the offensive line coach, thinks Brock Hoffman is an NFL starter at center. He 100% believes that. And the reason why they took Cooper Beebe, if Cooper Beebe was solely a center and not an interior offensive lineman that they could potentially move around and shift around and have as insurance for the future when Zach Martin eventually retires, I don't think they take Cooper Beebe if he was just a center. Because I think Mike Solari believes we've got a center right now that's redundant. We're repeating something. We don't need to do that. It's like, okay, well, you've got two firm starters at the guard spots now in Tyler Smith and Zach Martin. So that sounds like it's going to be difficult for Cooper Beebe to crack the rotation if Mike Solari is that firm in that position. Left guard, Tyler Smith there. The left tackle position would feel like it'd be an obvious one for Tyler Guyton, but you remember after the draft, Shan, when the next day people thought they caught me on a hot mic?
Yeah.
Caught me on a hot mic. Well, I'm going to say today.
And they didn't even realize you didn't speak, so how could they get you saying something?
Well, that was day 3. This was day 1. Things were still all hunky-dory by that point.
Real messy.
Yeah, exactly. When the draft ended, I had said, took off my headphones, I said to the group there, I said, I wonder if he's actually going to start this year, talking about Guyton. And people thought it was just some dig at him. It's not. I think Tyler Guyton is going to be a Pro Bowl player eventually at left tackle. He is incredibly raw, and still learning tools and picking things up. When you have a coaching staff that is all basically in a lame duck situation, they're all on one-year deals.
Yeah.
They're all trying to preserve their job or fight for their next one. Most coaches will say, I can live with a guy who's maybe not as good as the guy across from him. If that happens, that sucks, but I can deal with the talent deficiency. What I can't deal with is execution errors. I'm not going to get fired because somebody didn't know what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
And there's a greater likelihood, I think, to the Cowboys coaching staff that they think Chuma Edoga more consistently is ready this year to know where he's supposed to be and what he's supposed to do than Tyler Guyton will be. Doesn't matter if the skill set is that much better.
It's like Cooper Rush and Lance.
Yeah, it's what we ran into with Tyler Smith's rookie year, which he ended out having a good rookie year. But out of necessity, when Tyron Smith went down, they were going to put him in the offensive line, like in the starting group. But remember, we were out at camp for 2-3 weeks going, when is Tyler Smith going to get the first team reps from McGovern? I thought this was a slam dunk. He was playing left guard this year, and McGovern was not.
Yep.
And if it had not been for Tyron Smith getting hurt, I don't think that Tyler Smith would have been given the opportunity to start that year. And I think they're at a similar point right now with Tyler Guyton and Cooper Beebe. And is that a problem for a team that feels win now and has guys on short-term deals? Is that a problem to make those selections then if you're not even giving them resources to do something this year?
I think Choppy would give them credit for not being a prisoner of the moment. And it's like, pick the best player that you think will eventually come out of the selection.
Yeah, if they don't.
It doesn't have to be your because you can pick like your older veteran type boring selection. Mm-hmm. Someone's going to be a starter. I'm going to get 5 good years out of them.
Right.
Or the potential, the hype, and the growth.
Yeah, the potential. Throw them out there. Let them fail. Let them succeed.
Now, I'm not happy about it if I'm Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott.
Right. Oh, no, for sure. And now look, I mean, can a case be like, are we freaking out about this offensive line?
I don't think everybody's freaking out. I think people are waiting, though.
Give me the offensive line for the opener. I'll tell you if I'm freaking out.
Right tackle, Terrence Steele. Right guard, Zach Martin. This is my projection. Center, Brock Hoffman. Left guard, Tyler Smith. Left tackle, Chuma Edoga.
Okay, well, I'm freaking out.
Are you freaking out about left tackle only or about the unit?
The unit. I mean, I'm freaking out about left tackle. I'm unknown about center, and I'm unknown about right tackle.
Okay. So let me ask you this then, because I get
with no juice at running back to try to overcome that offensive line, and my quarterback who may leave me without a contract.
So I guess what I would counter that with is, how many other lines have 2 All-Pros on it?
I would counter back and say, name me the tackles worse than Chuma Edoga throughout the NFL.
Well, I mean, look, you're not wrong on that one. And I would probably go Guyton just because there's a talent.
Well, and that's
but either way.
Edoga and Steele. I could go with the tackle combo. Are we getting last year's Steele or 2 years ago Steele?
That's going to be a big point. I think
if it's last year's Steele, put Trey Lance in now. Or Cooper Rush if you want to protect Trey.
We had a question on Love of the Star this week where they had essentially asked, is Terrence Steele the X factor for this roster this season? Like, if Terrence Steele is old Terrence Steele, how much does that just solidify so much of what you're trying to do and accomplish versus if he's the guy that he was last year?
Guess Steele's PFF grade last year.
52.
50.8.
Oh. He was
51. Not good. Now, I know you're bringing up a lot of injury.
Yeah, it was
recovery and all
coming
that.
off of the injury, and the Cowboys have had issues with guys coming off of ACL the first year. And the second year is typically where they bounce back. That's why we're going to be watching Trayvon Diggs during training camp to see if he looks like he's held back in any way. Here's the thing to me, though, is that I know they don't want to play Tyler Smith at this point at left tackle. Like they'd prefer to just keep him at left guard right now. That would be their preference. But if you don't think Tyler Guyton's ready, it feels a little negligent to have such a talent deficit with Edoga, though, at left tackle. And that's where, if you feel like 5 of your best offensive linemen, 5 of your 6 best offensive linemen are Tyler Smith, Zach Martin, Brock Hoffman, TJ Bass, Cooper Beebe, and those are all interior guys, I think you have to make a decision that says Tyler Smith needs to go out to left tackle then for this year. Tyler Smith needs to play left tackle, and then we'll let Beebe and Bass, if you don't want to give it to a rookie, fine. Bass. You had Bass play spot play last year. Let TJ Bass be the left guard and Brock Hoffman be the center. And then you've got a veteran group and rolling with it, and you're not at a talent deficit like you would be with Edoga.
Edoga was a 61.4 PFF grade last year.
Is offensive line, Chop, I know we've referenced this before in terms of that it is a unit like that, but is there another weakest link unit in football than the offensive line? Like, where you're only as good as your weakest link?
Well, the defense as a whole, I think. I think if you're in the secondary, your secondary is only as good as your weakest link, because the offense, the theory on defense being a weak link unit is that the offense will just pick on that weak link as much as it can. It will game plan to that weak link.
Yeah, I mean, and people have done that. They did it to when Kelvin Joseph came into the Packers game a couple of years ago. They immediately went, all right, Kelvin Joseph, there he is. Jacksonville, same thing. Kelvin Joseph, there he is. Go target him. You can absolutely do those sort of things. The offensive line is such a cohesion unit, though, to me, where it's like, they've got to all work together, and it's going to bring everybody else down. You're not going to, with a good offensive line, bring up a poor tackle. Like, Chuma Edoga's not going to be elevated, I don't think, by playing next to Tyler Smith. Maybe it bails him out on a couple different occasions, but I don't think it's going to make him a better player. It's going to cause Tyler Smith to have to go down a level and make plays that he wasn't anticipating he was going to have to, or that's going to take away his attention. And when you have that issue right there, how does that start impacting what Dak feels he needs to check at the line of scrimmage versus the offensive line? What Dak feels he needs to have the responsibility for. When you're talking about busts, having busts in your assignments, I can't get out of my head with the idea that Edoga could start, and I've heard people say behind closed doors, they'll say Edoga absolutely has a chance to start here. I can't get out of my head last year.
Is he better than I'm giving him credit for?
No.
Or can he be better?
No.
Where do you think? So Pro Football Network just ranked the offensive lines. Where do you think they have the Cowboys?
12.
It's close. 15. 16's Buffalo. 17's Denver. 18 is San Fran.
Who's 1, 2, 3? Philly.
Philly is 1.
Philly, Detroit, and who?
Philly, Detroit, and Cleveland.
Yeah. Now the thing I can't get out of my head with Edoga, and we'll wrap with this idea here. The thing I can't get out of my head with Edoga, if you're talking about you don't want busts, is that Miami game. That was a 5-6 year veteran who let Bradley Chubb run right by him late in the game on the goal line 2 different times where he didn't know where he was supposed to be. I don't know how you can stand up there and say, well, look, we know what we're getting reliably here, but I think we are going to start camp with Hoffman and Edoga starting on the offensive line. They will be getting the first team reps, I think, when we're out there at Oxnard next week.